Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox, and I'd like to welcome you to the Daily Compliance News. The Daily Compliance News is an offering of the Compliance Podcast Network. August 29th, 2019, the Pardons Before Crimes edition. First up, a story from the FCPA Blog that the audit firm RSM was charged with violating independence rules. The U.S. unit of the global accounting firm RSM International was charged Tuesday with violating the SEC's auditor independence rules on at least 100 audit reports for 15 clients. The firm agreed to pay a fine of $950,000 while neither admitting nor denying. The SEC said RSM US violated independence rules by providing non-audit services to audit clients, including corporate secretarial services, payment facilitation, payroll outsourcing, loan, staffed, financial information, system design or implementation, bookkeeping, internal audit outsourcing, and investment advisor services. For those of you who may have gone through a mergers and acquisition, take heart because, according to the Wall Street Journal, Bayer-Monsanto merger has become one of the worst corporate deals ever. This is pretty outstanding considering some of the company they've kept, including the Sprint Nextel merger, the AOL Time Warner merger, the Alcatel-Lucent merger, the Bank of America Countrywide merger, and of course the HP acquisition of Autonomy. Bayer fought to take over Monsanto, but now the $63 billion gambit is threatening actually the future of Bayer. Of course, it comes around the idea, or rather the failure of Bayer to do adequate due diligence on Monsanto to accurately assess the potential risks. So once again, points up the need for pre-acquisition due diligence, compliance, legal, and a variety of others. So do your due diligence before you acquire. The Sackler family, according to the New York Times, is in talks to give up control of Perdue Pharma, as well as make a $3 billion payment to put together a pot between $10 and $12 billion to settle its liability for the opioid crisis. Under this proposed settlement, which would go through the bankruptcy court, Perdue Pharma would become a public beneficiary trust, which would allow profits from all drug sales to go to the plaintiffs in the litigation, largely the states, cities, towns, and tribes which have been decimated by the opioid crisis. It's certainly a good first step and talking point, and would be an interesting way to see if the Sackler family would actually be held accountable for their actions in facilitating or at least driving the opioid crisis forward while they controlled Perdue Pharma. And then finally, from a variety of newspapers, but I cite to the Washington Post, if you are going to commit a crime, perhaps you can get a agreement with the president for a pardon beforehand. Is that what he has apparently offered to people to help get his wall built? There are several legal obstacles in the way, not the least of the property owned by private landowners. So President Trump has just said, take that property, and that if there's fallout from it, he will pardon anyone. This is similar to his comments earlier to the head of the Customs and Border Protection to go ahead and engage in illegal acts, and that he will take care of him later. Unfortunately, it's not clear when that later would be, and certainly under an administration not run by Donald Trump, such a promise of a pardon might not be a contractual obligation which could be upheld in a court of law. But go ahead and build that wall and take that land and take your chances later. Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio.